Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode. My name is Akash and you can follow me on Twitter at Mangeko with the zero at the end. Right, I put out a lot of technical stuff and right now this video is going to be talking about Zilliqa and what I see, right? It's going to be a really interesting video today. So if you want to stay updated to the content that I put out, please make sure to click on this link over here, which is going to take you to my YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and do not forget to click the like button, the bell icon, because uh, sometimes I forget to post my videos on Twitter, so that way you are notified regardless of that. Right, so let's talk about Zilliqa, right? Things are looking pretty interesting here for Zilliqa, and I feel like there's a massive crash coming here where Zilliqa could go down to 0.050, right? And the reason why I believe that's gonna happen is because of the setup known as breakers, right? A breaker is So let me just explain what a bullish breaker is, right? So in a very general sense, a breaker is when a demand zone or a supply zone gets flipped into a breaker. So basically when you see a resistance level that is broken, it becomes a support level, and support level becomes a resistance level, right? So in that sense, a breaker is exactly like that, a flipped or a broken supply and demand zone. But there's one other rule that you have to follow for it to be a confirmed breaker, right? The price has to produce a market structure break. So what is a market structure break? A market structure break is when the price forms a lower low or a higher high. So basically that is pretty much it. Like, to identify a breaker, you need two things. First thing, you need a market structure break and a demand zone or supply zone formed between that market structure break, and then you want the price to flip that demand zone or form supply zone to a breaker, right? So I explained in this particular thread on my profile, right? If you just go here and click on this first pinned post, you can see I've explained bearish breaker, right? In this particular chart, I've shown that the price forms a low and then the price deviates below that low to form a market structure break. So now then what you go you find the origin of the second wave, and then you look for the demand zone, which is what I've marked here. And once you form this demand zone here, you wait for the price after this move down here, you wait for the price to go above this, break it. So once it's done that, it's flipped it into a breaker. Now you wait for the retest of the breaker and then you long it. So this is a bullish breaker. There's another example here where price forms a low, breaks that low, and then you find the demand zone between those two lows, and then you wait for the price to break above it, and then you wait for the price to come down and open a long position here. So basically this is how a breaker is, right? And a bearish breaker is exactly the opposite of that. What happens is the price forms a high and then price forms a higher high, which is a market structure break. You then what you do is you mark out the breaker. So you mark out the demand zone formed between these two market structure breaks. And then what happens is when the price breaks below this, you don't do anything, you just wait. When the price pulls back to this particular demand zone, which was the demand zone and is now a breaker, is you open a short position here, right? This is pretty much it. This is how a breaker works. You have a high and then you have a higher high, which is obviously a market structure break, and then you find demand zone between these two highs, and then you wait for the price to break it. So once it's broken, it is a potential breaker, right? And then you wait for the price to retest it. That's when it becomes an actual breaker, and that's where you short it, right? And if you see Zilliqa over here, it's doing exactly that. Price formed a high on 27th March. Price formed a higher high on April 1st, right? So which this is a simple market structure break. And then you go for the origin of the second move, which is over here, and then you find the demand zone. This is the demand zone, right? As you can see here, this demand zone was valid as the price. If I go to a 4-hour time frame, you can see how the price has reacted bullishly to it every time it comes down. Okay, there was no retest over here, but there was a retest here, which led to a bullish uptick, right? But the price kind of remained between the upper limit of the demand zone, which is 0.127, and this local top here at 0.133, right? So what's happening now is that the price yesterday, 26th of April, the price moved below the breaker and even closed below that, which is a good sign, which is a sign that it is flipped into a breaker. Now see, we haven't gotten a single retest, so I'm waiting for a retest of this particular zone. So theoretically speaking, this is where you open a short position, and you keep your stop loss somewhere around here, and then you wait for the price to go lower, right? But there are two more things that are in play here. The first thing is for the target, right? You might ask, why am I keeping my target here and why not somewhere around here or somewhere down here, right? The reason for that is because the price is produced, this particular candlestick here is an extremely bullish candlestick, right? And it has produced something known as a fair value gap, which is often formed when the price moves quickly away from a position uh, to the other side. And when this happens, there's a lot of inefficiency present, which is what we call as a fair value gap, right? And in a 1 day time frame, you just mark the first red candle, this next red candle here. This is called as a fair value gap. All right, so this is what I'm looking for. Like, usually what happens is when the price actually moves quickly away from a particular point, it usually comes back down, fills the gap, and then establish directional bias. Right, as you can see here, for this particular candlestick, there was also a fair value gap here, which extended from this point to this point. And what price did is eventually price filled this, came down here, filled this, fill this, fill this, fill this, and finally on this particular candlestick, the fair value gap was completely filled. So now I'm expecting a similar downtrend here for Zilliqa as well, right? So this is a theoretical setup, right? But if you go on a lower time frame, you can see that yesterday's candlestick also produced a minor fair value gap here, which kind of extends from this point to this point. But so far the price has filled it up to this point. So there's a good chance we could see Zilliqa dig deep into this breaker and then come down. So based on that, I can adjust my entry position to this point and my stop loss exactly at the top of this breaker, right? So back to the daily time frame. This is my setup. I'm looking at a 2.59-hour trade with a 50% downswing on the horizon. So yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I'm going to be taking this trade. I'm going to be posting my outlook, right? Before in this video, I just want to talk about how Bitcoin's price moves is going to affect this particular trade, right? So let's quickly take a look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is still kind of hovering around the lower limit of this particular range, which extends from here 42.2k to 39.8k. As long as price remains ranging like it has for quite some time, I think we can see the ZIL short come to fruition. But if Bitcoin makes like an extremely volatile move to the upside, then there's a good chance price could dig deeper into this demand zone and into this breaker, right? And the only way this breaker gets invalidated is like if Zilliqa produces a daily close above the breaker, right? That is technically an invalidation zone. But for me, what I do is I wait. If the price moves above the 50% of this breaker, which is somewhere around 0.11, if we get like a daily close above 0.11, that's an invalidation, right? So technically, I would keep my stop loss somewhere around here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's quick update, guys. If you enjoyed this analysis, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, please make sure to leave them in the comment section of this video, or you can also go ahead and DM me, not DM me, just at me on Twitter, basically. Peace. Have a good day.